Hello everyone, welcome to the detailed solution and explanation video of Delhi University MSc Botany Entrance Exam 2018 question paper. The total question paper will be solved in two parts, part A and part 1, part B. Part A will have 50 questions and part B will also have the last 50 questions. So let's start with it. Uh, Before starting this, I would like to mention that in the previous video, this question was missed in part A video of 2017 question paper of DU MSc Botany Entrance Exam. The question was that which of the following is a micronutrient. So the answer according to the answer key is sodium, although the silicon is also the correct answer. This is the list that I have made of macro and the micronutrient. In this you can see on the left and the right hand side I have made a down arrow which indicates the amount of essentiality of that particular macro or micronutrient. So you will find that silicon is the least essential micronutrient among all, and among the macronutrient the sulfur is the least essential. So in this question both the answers silicon and sodium were correct. Um Now this question was also wrongly marked in the previous video. The type of vascular bundles where the primary phloem is surrounded by the primary xylem is known as. I just marked the answer as amphicribal bundle, although the explanation I gave completely correct. Actually this happened because this question was asked in terms of amphicribal bundle in 2014. I just thought that it is just a repetition of that question and immediately answered the question. So the correct answer for this will be amphi-vessel bundles. Uh, Before going ahead, I would just like to thank Priya, Vaishnavi, and Satish for finding out mistakes in the previous videos. Actually, this is so good. This is what I want. Please never hesitate to mention if you find any mistake anywhere in the video. The comment box is always open to you. You can write about any correction without any hesitation. Uh, because I just want this platform to be interactive. I do not want it to be a one-way process where just only I explain and you listen. I want you all to participate as well and make it as a discussion group. So 2018 question paper you can download directly by going on the NTA website nta.ac.in. There you will find a download section. In that download section, just fill these entries. You will get the question paper. So let's start with the question paper. The question number 1: which one of the following heterotrygous algae grow on rocks or bark? So the answer is Trentophilia. A heterotrygous habit is a habit in which is considered as mostly highly evolved type of habit in green algae, in which the algae show two types of branches, prostrate type and upright type. Uh, Trentifolia is a genus of filamentous chlorophyte green algae, family Trentophiliaceae. Uh, it lives free on terrestrial support such as tree trunks, bark, wet rocks, etc. Most often in symbiotic association with lichen. And the other one, Stygioclonium, is a freshwater alga growing usually in slow running or stagnant water. Cephalurus is parasite over several host plant, and Fritziella is also a freshwater algae often found on moist alkaline soil with a tendency to be terrestrial. Next question: which one of the following statement is not correct? So the answer for this was that telome theory describes the classification of fern is wrong, because pteridophyte, lycophytes and fern were earlier classified on the basis of nature and relation of leaf and stem vascular anatomy and position of sporangia. But then this pteridophyte phylogeny group came out, or it was called as PPG. It is an international group of systematic botanists together working for classification of pteridophyte. They together worked for classification of pteridophyte, lycophytes and ferns through a relationship discovered by phylogenetic studies and on the basis of molecular phylogenetic characters. In 2016, a classification for the complete extant pteridophyte was published by the group and was termed as PPG1. You can just Google PPG1, you will get the paper. The paper has around 94 authors, out of which 26 are the principal author and 68 are the additional authors. Next question: which of the following Vir genes act as a transcriptional activator of other Vir genes? So answer is Virg. The expression of Vir genes is controlled by a periplasmic sugar binding protein, the transmembrane histidine protein kinase Vir-A, and the cytoplasmic response regulator Vir-G. Phospho-Vir-G activates expression of at least 14 Vir operons containing a total of 30 genes. Next question, which one of the following features of Anthoceros indicates its algal ancestry? Uh, so the answer they have already given. The Anthoceros thallus gametophyte has parenchyma cells which are isodiametric and uniform with no air chamber and air pores. Each cell contains a big chloroplast which possesses a single pyronoids in its structure. The pyronoid of Anthoceratopsida and green algae are similar in function, although not homologous, and form starch grains in their peripheral region. This indicates Anthoceros to be having an algal phylogeny. Next question, which one of the following is not a list of millets? So answer they have already given. So pearl millet is Pennisetum glaucum, finger millet is Eleusine coracanna, great millet is the sorghum bicolor, or finger millet is also the sorghum. Proso or common millet is Panicum millesium, and buckwheat or Phagopyron esculentum or common buckwheat is a plant cultivated for its grain like seeds. So you can easily mark the answer after this explanation. Next question, which one of the following plant has n-isocytic type of stomata? They have given the this Arabidopsis thaliana. So Dianthus has diacytic stomata, Triticum aestivum and Allium cepa has parasitic, and Arabidopsis thaliana has n-isocytic. So the answer is Arabidopsis thaliana. For details of type of stomata and the way they are represented, you can watch the second video of 2015 question paper and sixth video of 2014 question paper. Next question, the culturing of plant cells in liquid agitated medium is called. So the answer is suspension culture. Hydroponics is the method of growing plants without soil. For example, growing plant in test tube or bottle filled with nutrient plus water. Even the money plant that you grow in your house is also a kind of hydroponic. The aquaponics is hydroponics plus conventional aquaculture, which includes raising aquatic animals, example snails, fish, prawn, etc. in tanks in a symbiotic environment. Suspension culture is a cell or cell aggregates dispersed and growing in an agitated, that is moving liquid medium. And micropropagation was also a option there. You already know micropropagation is tissue culture. Next question, a peroxisome derived dense core microbody with a unit membrane found near pore of hyphal septum in filamentous ascomycota is called. So the answer is Voronian body. We will just see the other options. The spindle pore body SPB is the microtubule organizing center in yeast and is equivalent to a centrosome. Chitosome is an intracellular membrane-bound particle containing chitin synthase. It synthesizes chitin microfibrils in fungi. The Spinzenkorper, this is a German word, is a structure at the tip of fungal hyphae, highly vesicular, and is the organizing center for hyphal growth and morphogenesis, branching, and spore germination. Voronian bodies are specialized peroxisomes bodies that seal the septal pores in fungal hyphae in response to cellular damage. Next question, sympatric species are those that sympatric species are two related species or populations which exist in the same geographical area and thus frequently encounter one another although they are reproductively isolated. Next question, S allele variants involved in conferring self-incompatibility interact in a haplotype manner because. So the answer is because the S locus with male and female determinant is inherited as one unit. For the self-incompatibility and genetic incompatibility, you can see my previous videos. Let me explain this here. A haplotype is a group of genes in an organism that is inherited together from a single parent. Now, self-incompatibility is a mechanism between pollen and pistil for recognizing self or non-self to prevent inbreeding. In this self-incompatibility, the S locus comprises two S determinants, a pollen that is male S determinant and a pistil that is female S determinant. These are closely linked so that they are inherited as a single segregating unit and thus behave as a haplotype. When S haplotype of pollen and pistil matches, they are recognized as self and hence rejected, and vice versa if they do not match. The two S determinants are the stigmatic S locus receptor kinase, which is present on the which is the female determinant, and its pollen coat localized ligand, the S locus cysteine rich protein, which is present on the pollen, that is the male S determinant. Next question, an erect leafless stem bearing an inflorescence or flower at its apex is called. So scape is a long, erect, non-woody, leafless internodal segment of a herbaceous stem that is destined to bear one or more flower or fruit at its tip. For example, you can see that in onion. Next question, select the correct sequence of events leading to opening of stomata. So this is just the sequence of event of opening of stomata, and this concept of potassium ion transport was given by Fusino, and it was elaborated in 1975 by Levitt and Rushke. Next question, plants adapted to the low light, intensity um generally have. So the answer is high photosynthetic rate, because plant grown under low light intensity usually have higher photosynthetic rate. They have large PS2 antenna size and higher PS2 to PS1 ratio compared to the plant grown under the higher light. So also the plant which are growing under low light intensity, generally they show different arrangement of the chloroplast. I have drawn these arrangement here in this image. You can see the chloroplast aligned parallel to the wall of mesophyll cells, mainly the palisade cells. When intensity of light is minimum, to get more and more of light, this condition is called epistrophy. And when the intensity of light is maximum, the chloroplast get aligned perpendicular to the mesophyll cells to avoid photooxidation of chlorophyll, a molecule uh, which is important for photosynthesis. This condition is called parastrophy. And then there is an other arrangement for moderate light called as apostrophe. You can see that in the image. Next question, ovules in Pinus and Rosa were inherited from a recent common ancestor. This question has, like, if you don't know the answer, still you can point out to the correct option, because the other three options are irrelevant. Although I have drawn this figure just to make the option more correct. So this figure says that the gymnocrown group and the angiocrown group has evolved from the common ancestor of the seed plant. So there, this ovules and other characteristics are also what you call inherited from the same common ancestor. Ovules were originally born directly on the leaves of ancient seed ferns and on the modified seed leaves, megasporophylls in later gymnosperms such as cycads. According to traditional theory, the first carpel came about as a simple blade-like megasporophyll with ovules along both edges, rolled or folded together, enclosing the ovules within a protective chamber. The structure would have been very similar to a pea pod or a follicle. This structure is called as ascidiate carpel. The ascidiate carpel theory is very known theory. Now, since the earliest branching angiosperm have primary ascidiate carpels, the simplest, that is the most parsimonious angiosperm will have, or the most parsimonious interpretation about angiosperm will be saying that the earliest carpel is that which were ascidiate as well. The corollary of this interpretation is that the plicate carpel of the magnolids, eudicots, and monocots must have evolved from one of the common ascidiate carpel ancestor. Hence, they are saying that the ovule in both Pinus and Rosa are inherited from a recent common ancestor. Next question, identify the microorganism capable of inducing hairy root culture for the synthesis of secondary metabolites. So Agrobacterium rhizogenes, soil-borne gram-negative bacteria of Rhizobiaceae family, causes hairy root disease in infected dicotyledonous plants by the integration of the tDNA region of the rhi gene. Rhi plasmid means root inducing plasmid of Agrobacterium rhizogens into the plant DNA. Hairy root have frequent branching, high density of capillary roots, high biomass production potential, and rapid development. High stability and productivity feature allow the exploitation of this hairy roots as valuable biotechnological tool for the production of plant secondary metabolites. Next question, Kevada oil is obtained from which of the following species? So the answer they have already given. The Pandanus odoratissimum Screw point species, family Pendenaceae, is commonly known as Kevada, or the male inflorescence of Kevada has economic value due to the characteristic fragrant smell emitted by the tender white spathes covering the flowers. Next question, the cyclic form of sugars are formed by cyclization of. The answer they have given, the aldehyde and alcohols on the same molecule to form intramolecular hemiacetal. This reminds me of the biomolecule chapter of chemistry in class 12th. So I have taken the excerpts from there only. Cyclic hemiacetal is a preferred structural form of many monosaccharide. The five, that is furanose, and 6, that is pyranose member ring have low angle and eclipsing strain and are hence favored over other ring sizes. The cyclic hemiacetal ring adopted by a given sugar is not constant but may vary with substituents and other structural features. However, the hemiacetal within a molecule often differ only with the position of aldehyde group and alcohol group, which undergo different arrangement in a molecule to form various cyclic form of sugar. Hence the option which is correct. Schizogenous glands are. So schizogenous cavities are common intercellular spaces result from separation of cell wall from each other due to the partial dissolution of intercellular substances, that is the middle lamella. These cavities are secretory in nature. It gets connected to and release their products into long intercellular channels which can be considered as ducts. For example, the resin ducts in coniferales and the secretory ducts in the Compositae and Umbelliferae. So the answer, that schizogenous glands are internal secretory structure that are formed by dissolution of middle lamella of adjacent cell is correct. Next question, hormogonia are. So hormogonia are motile filaments of cell formed by some cyanobacteria. They are usually found in member of nostochales and stegonematales. They are common method of vegetative reproduction. The hormogonia glides away from the main filament and develop into new fully fleshed filament. The symbiotic cyanobacteria uses hormogonia inducing factor from the host. So the answer is multicellular fragments of filament which serve in vegetative reproduction of some blue-green algae, that is cyanobacteria. In among cyanobacteria also they are found in nostochales and stegonematales. Next question, in gametophytic self-incompatibility GSI system, the S locus product are synthesized after completion of meiosis. This I have already told you. The gametophytic self-incompatibility I have already discussed in the previous videos also. And about the S locus we have just read in the previous questions of this question paper. So I'll just compared here the gametophytic self-incompatibility and sporophytic self-incompatibility. On the right hand side are the points for SSI, that is sporophytic self-incompatibility. The 4 points on the same 4 points here in gametophytic self-incompatibility, that is GSI. So we'll just compare these 4 points. The first point is just about the discoverer, the scientist, and the plant in which it was discovered. So GSI was explained by East and Mangelsdorff 1925 in Nicotiana Sindri. The outcome of the interaction between the pollen tube and the style is determined by the genotype of the pollen, that is gamete. The S locus product are synthesized after completion of meiosis. So allele may show their individual effect, that is codominance like action, and growth of the pollen tube arrest in the style but sometimes also in the stigmatic region. In SSI it was explained by Hughes and Babcock in Crepes foetida. Outcome of the interaction between the pollen tube and the style is determined by the genotype of the sporophyte, that is diploid tissue, and S locus product are synthesized before completion of meiosis. So allele may not show their individual effect, so that dominant one shows their effect on all, that is dominant effect is there, and growth of the pollen tube arrest at the surface of the stigma. Next question, in a cloning experiment using E. coli, this is the same question number 54 of 2017 question paper analysis. Here only they have replaced the BAMH1 site with the EcoR1, and they have used different antibiotic in the plasmid, the kanamycin and spectinomycin. There it was, if I remember correctly, it was ampicillin and tetracycline. So the concept and approach is same. You just read the question and then read the question number 54 of 2017 question paper. You can see that video which I have in which I have solved this question number 54 correctly. You will get the answer for this. Next question, triticum dicoccum is commonly known as, so einkorn, that is oldest wheat known to scientists and is considered man's first wheat. Taxonomically, it is either Triticum bioticum, wild wheat, or Triticum monococcum, that is domestic species. Durum wheat is Triticum durum, and club wheat is Triticum compactum, and emmer wheat, which is our answer, is Triticum dicoccum. Next question, 4 multi-protein complexes 1 to 4 couple electron transport to proton pumping across the mitochondrial inner membrane. To which of this complex do electron from succinate flow? This is just a fact-based question. If you just know the diagram of electron transport chain, you will easily understand that the electron from succinate flows to complex 2. So the answer. Next question, in the classical example of a dihybrid cross with F2 phenotype of phenotypic ratio of 9:7, which of the following is false for the two genes involved? Uh, so they are just that the classical example of dihybrid cross they are saying of F2 phenotype, and that was actually the that comes under complementary gene interaction under epistasis. So 9:7 is a complementary gene interaction under epistasis. Both gene product are required, but that doesn't mean that the gene should be linked. So this option is wrong. That is, the genes are linked. Epistasis is an interaction at the phenotypic level of organization and occur in the following scenario: whenever two or more loci interact to create new phenotype, whenever an allele at one locus masks the effect of allele at one or more other loci, and whenever an allele to one or at one locus modifies the effect of allele at one or more other loci. Next question, photoperiodism was discovered by, this we know, Garner and Allard. Photoperiodism was discovered by Garner and Allard, who observed that Biloxi variety of soybean, that is Glycine max, and Maryland mammoth variety of tobacco, that is Nicotiana tabacum, can flower only when the light exposure is minimized below certain critical hours duration. They after many experiments concluded that the relative length of the day is an important factor for the growth and development of plants. Next question, the bacterial DNA replication initiator protein is, so DNA A is a protein that activates initiation of DNA replication in bacteria. It is a replication initiation factor which promotes the unwinding of DNA at ORIC. Next question, in gymnosperm the female gametophyte develops from, so the megaspore mother cell divide by meiosis to produce 4 haploid megaspore. One of the megaspore divides to form the multicellular female gametophyte, which is so hence answer haploid megaspore. Next question, hyaline cell of leaves and retort cell facilitate high water holding capacity of the gametophore in, so answer is sphagnum. This is repeated several times in all years. You, if you have seen all my videos, you will be very familiar with this diagram till now, because in every question I have drawn the same diagram. The stem tissue in sphagnum is differentiated into inner pith and outer cortical layer of cells. The cortical cells have some modified and large cells known as retort cells that look like the chemical flask of medieval ages called retorts. Retort cell help the mosses to retain water under extreme sunlight or desiccation stress, and the large hyaline cells are present in leaves. They have pores and are dead at maturity and serve to retain water. Next question, autotetraploids are often marked by the presence of, in autotetraploids, the 4 copies of each chromosomes are derived from the same species and are therefore all homologous. Hence, there is no pairing preference among chromosomes, that is, any can pair with any. When such pairing preferences are not there, a chromosome can pair with different homologs at different pairing initiation sites. If these pairing interactions mature to crossover, an association of multiple homologous chromosomes called a multivalent can occur during meiosis 1, which may create problems such as missegregation. So the answer is multivalent at meiosis 1. Next question, phytochrome protein is a, so phytochrome are photoreceptors found in plants, bacteria and fungi. They are basically histidine kinases and are typically homodimeric proteins. In fact, dimerization is an intrinsic property of the histidine kinase itself, in which one subunit phosphorylates the substrate histidine residue of the other subunit. Next question, in bacteria the membrane invagination that initiate DNA replication are, so the answer is mesosome. Mesosomes serve in DNA replication, aid in distribution of duplicated bacterial chromosome among the daughter cells, during cell division. They are also considered analogous to inner mitochondrial membrane since they carry the enzyme for aerobic respiration and have enfoldings that increase the surface area for respiration. Although there is some controversy about mesosome. One group of scientists say all this about mesosome that I have explained, and one group of scientists say that mesosomes are just cosmetic invaginations in the plasma membrane of bacteria, and they do not have actual role. Next question. In higher plants, isopentenyl pyrophosphate IPP is formed via two different biosynthetic pathways occurring in. So for the biosynthesis of IPP, the plant synthesize isoprenoside precursors using the mevalonate pathway in the cytoplasm and using the MEP pathway, that is non-mevalonate pathway, also appearing as the mevalonate independent pathway in their chloroplast. So the answer is cytoplasm and chloroplast. Next question. Nuclear endosperm formation is characterized by. So this is again a repetition of previous year questions. So three types of endosperms are there. Nuclear endosperm, in which the primary endosperm nucleus divides without wall formation. It is the most common type, for example cotton, maize, etc. Next one is the cellular one, in which there is no free nuclear division. Every division of primary endosperm nucleus is followed by wall formation, for example Datura, Petunia, etc. And then comes the halobial endosperm. This is found in the member of the order Halobiales. Halobial endosperm is intermediate between the nuclear and the cellular type. The first division of primary endosperm nucleus is followed by a transverse cytokinesis, resulting in a micropylar and chelazal chamber. Further development in both chamber is free nuclear type. Next question. A specimen of named taxon collected usually later from the original type locality is called topotype. We know that. And for this topotype is a specimen of a species collected at the locality at which the original type was obtained. And for detail other isotype, syntype, neotype, etc., please see the part 3 video of 2014 question paper solution at time around 2 minutes 30 seconds. The link for the video is also shared below in the description box of this video. Next question. In case of Paramecium aurelia, allele K and kappa particles are interrelated. Which of the following is a wrong example of this interrelation? They are saying in absence of Ki, kappa particle can multiply. Kappa particle is they are saying the wrong example of this interrelation, that you can just note down. So kappa particle is an inheritable cytoplasmic symbiont occurring in Paramecium. Paramecium strains have kappa particles are known as killer paramecia. They secrete a toxin paramycin into the culture medium that kills other paramecium not having the kappa particles. Kappa particles are found in genotype of Paramecium aurelia that carry the dominant gene K, and replacement of this gene by its recessive allele result in the loss of kappa particles, although not immediately but only after 8 to 15 fissions. So the option this in absence of Ki, the kappa particle can multiply is wrong. It can multiply but just only to 8 to 15 fissions only. After that it will stop. Next question. The enzyme responsible for the reduction of nitrogen into ammonia during biological nitrogen fixation is. Now this is a confusing question because they have given nitrogenase, that is the complex also, the nitrate reductase also, and dinitrogenase also. So the best option is nitrogenase, because nitrogenase is actually an enzyme complex consisting of dinitrogenase, reductase and dinitrogenase, which are highly conserved O2 sensitive enzyme working in tandem to reduce N2. The triple bond in N2 is highly resistant to change in oxidation state, and nitrogenases found only in nitrogen fixing bacteria are the only proteins capable of reducing N2 to ammonia, and the reaction that the nitrogenase catalyze is given here. Next question. Digitalin, a drug, is obtained from. So digitalin is a glycoside compound extracted from the leaves and seed of the common foxglove. The best known species is the common foxglove, Digitalis purpurea. Next question. In bryophyte, meiosis occurs in. This is again a repeat question. You might have recognized this diagram which I have drawn earlier also. Although I have not drawn this diagram, I have just pasted from somewhere. So they are asking about this stage which is in the red bracket. So bryophyte show alternation of generation, that is a haploid gametophyte which is dominant and longer lived stage, and a diploid sporophyte which is dependent and short lived stage. And you can see here that the sporogenous tissue, when they form the spores, a meiosis occurs, that is shown in the red box. Next question, wall ingrowth that impact sieve-like appearance to pits or vessels are termed as. The answer is Western pits. Western pits are defined as bordered pits with the pit chamber or outer pit aperture wholly or partly lined with projections from the secondary cell wall. They can be considered as small projections from the secondary cell wall associated with tracheary elements of the secondary xylem. Next question, gonymocarp is. So gonymocarp is a multicellular diploid phase in the life cycle of Floridiophycean red algae that generates carpospores via gonymoblast filaments, in all cases attached to the female gametophytic body, that is not free living. So, so the option that gonymocarp is a collective name for structure formed by a group of gonymoblast. Okay, yeah, this is also important. They are this gonymocarp is formed from gonymoblast um, this gonymoblast formed by a group of gonymoblast filament, gonymoblast cells actually, and the filament that they formed are called as gonymoblast filament. In Needham, next question. So they have given the options and the theory behind that. This is that the absence of archegonia is an important characteristic in the female gametophyte of Needham. 1 to 3 nuclei at the micropylar end of the gametophyte gets enlarged and accumulates dense cytoplasm. These now function as egg. So the option that there are no distinct archegonia and some free nuclei of female gametophyte function as egg is correct. Next question, in polygonum type of embryo sac, which of the following is attached to the wall of the embryo sac only at the micropylar end? So this is a very general question. Now if you have just read your 12th standard reproductive biology of angiosperm, you will be knowing that at the micropylar end there is the egg apparatus, and in this polygonum type of embryo sac, at the micropylar end there is the egg apparatus, and at the opposite side there is the chalazal end. So obviously the answer is egg apparatus. Next question, near isogenic lines are normally used for. So near isogenic lines are strains which genetic makeups are identical except for few species locations or genetic loci. So only that genetic loci and specific locations are important, because hence now they can be easily used to decipher that particular single gene or locus encoding for a particular trait. Next question, plant cryptoviruses tend to escape detection because, so cryptovirus do not cause any visible symptom or just cause mild symptom in some cases when its copy number is very high. So the answer is correct, that is they cause very mild or no visible symptoms. Due to this it remains undetectable, although use of the term cryptovirus in genus name of plant infecting Partiviridae members was recently discontinued, because there are some fungal partyvirus also which have no viruses also which have no visible effects on their host and can also be considered as cryptic viruses. So now they have stopped using the term cryptovirus, because cryptovirus is now expanding. A lot of other viruses are also there which already have some name or they belong to some family or some group, but they also do not show any visible symptom, and they infect the plant. So they now the term cryptovirus is now like they are discouraging to use the word cryptoviruses, although cryptovirus means that the one which do not get detected easily in the plant, because they cause very mild or no visible symptoms. Next question, identify the correct target enzyme of glyphosate during the development of herbicide tolerant plants. So glyphosate is a broad spectrum herbicide which act by inhibiting the plant enzyme 5-enol pyruvyl shikimate 3-phosphate synthase. It is used to kill weeds and grasses that compete with the crops. It was discovered by Monsanto and brought to market with the trade name Roundup. Farmers were also provided with glyphosate resistant Roundup Ready crops, for example Roundup Ready soybean that you might have read in your BSc honors course, which enable farmers to kill weeds without killing their crops. Next question, in competitive inhibition, an inhibitor, so in competitive inhibition, an inhibitor which looks like the normal substrate bind reversibly at the enzyme active site and prevents the actual substrate from binding. Next question, dikaryotic hyphae are found in. So in all these in like their option, they have already given 3 and 4, that is 1 2 and 1 2 3 and 4. The Chytridomycota they have already given in which the in which fungi the dikaryotic hyphae are found. In these fungi, the fusion of the cellular content of the two hyphae but not of the two haploid nuclei results in dikaryotic hyphae, in which each cell contains two haploid nuclei, one from each parent. Next question, the inhibitory effect of red light on flowering during critical dark period on short day plant can be overcome by. So this is just a characteristic of SDPs, that is short day plant. The maximum inhibition of flowering in short day plant with red light occurs at about the middle of the critical dark period, and this inhibitory effect of red light can be overcome by a subsequent exposure with far red light. Next question, the relative proportion of sand, silt and clay in a soil refers to it. The answer is soil texture. The soil texture refers to the proportion of sand, silt and clay sized particles that make up the mineral fraction of the soil. Next question, Gaia hypothesis states that, they have given the answer, microorganisms create a conducive self-regulating control system for other species to exist. Although Gaia hypothesis is applicable to other organisms also, but for microorganisms this is exact hypothesis. So the Gaia hypothesis, also known as Gaia theory or Gaia principle, proposes that all organisms interact with their inorganic surroundings on Earth to form a single and self-regulating complex system that helps to maintain and perpetuate the conditions for life on the planet. It is named after the Greek earth goddess Gaia. The hypothesis was developed in 1960 by scientist Sir James Lovelock. So in the next video, I will be solving the question number 51 to question number 100. If you find any mistake in the solution, please do comment. Please like the video and do comment to appreciate my work, and stay tuned for more upcoming solution videos of various MSc entrance exam related to biological sciences.